Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're out here working on my Pontiac 6000 wagon once again. Actually, some stuff has changed on this car since last time you guys saw it, so let's take a look at that. So as you already know, the engine is no longer in here, but as you would notice, the subframe also not in here. It is right here. Also, the suspension has come apart on both sides, in there. And we have, the engine and the pile of parts here for the project. Wheel bearings, drive shafts, brake pads. We got wires and spark plugs, struts, rear springs, rear shocks, brake hoses, brake calipers, headers, ball joints, control arm bushings, the coilover stuff, even stuff for the AC, new fuel tank, rotors for the brakes, and the seal kit for the engine, all piled here.
How neat is that?
But in this video, we're going to be cleaning up the subframe. We're going to sandblast the subframe, and I have a few things to help with that.
That's pretty neat.
So first off, Superclean has sent me a couple more bottles of their heavy-duty degreaser. This stuff works great. It'll work great here on the engine bay, where it's all nasty, oily, slimy, and it'll work great on the subframe. So that's the first step, is we're going to put some of the Superclean to work and get the grime and grease cleaned off the subframe in the engine bay. After that, the smaller parts we can sandblast in my sandblasting cabinet over there. I think I got to get new media for that. But then for sandblasting the subframe before we paint it, I bought this deal here off of Amazon. This hooks to your pressure washer and it sandblasts. So this thing here hooks into your pressure washer. The hose connects to these go in a bucket with some media, and you can use the pressure of your pressure washer to sandblast. So we are going to try this out also on the subframe. Trying to figure out what color to paint things. So over here I have a plethora of colors to choose from. The subframe and stuff is going to be black. We'll probably use some of this kind of stuff on the control arms and the subframe, but the engine, I'm thinking the supercharger can be black. But for the valve covers and a few other things, I'm thinking about this copper color. It might look kind of cool with the green car. Those might be our two. So with that being said, I'm going to get the knuckles stripped down so we can sandblast those in the sandblasting cabinet, along with the lower control arms, then the subframe and the sway bar. We're going to have to use the pressure washer attachment thing, but I've got to get media before I can do any of this. So sounds like I need a trip to the store, but we can pressure wash and use Superclean, so maybe we'll do that first. So let's get to it. All right, so we're out here outside, got our Superclean, and we have our greasy subframe. What we're going to do is spray it down really good, let it soak in a little bit, then we're going to pressure wash it off. It should take a lot of the grease off. Obviously we're going to have to do both sides because both sides are nasty. You can already kind of see the grease running down off of this thing. Now we're going to let that sit in there, eat away at that grease, grime. Obviously if you were doing a painted surface, you would want to dilute this a little bit, test it someplace where it was inconspicuous to make sure everything's good. You definitely don't want to let it dry on a painted surface. Here it doesn't really matter, we're just trying to get the grease off it so then we can sandblast it and then we can paint it. So let's let this sit and then we'll pressure wash it off. So you can already see it's cleaning up pretty good. I'm gonna get you guys set up on a tripod and I'm gonna continue pressure washing this. so came pretty clean. Needs a little sandblasting on this side. So we just got to hook that thing up. Like, amazing how clean it came. All right, so I got my bucket of media, got the tube down in it. It's even really worn out used media. This piece snaps on the end of your sandblaster, the tube hooks to that. Not your sandblaster, your pressure washer. And you pull the trigger and go. All right, so I changed up my media. I took what was in my sandblaster out. Need new stuff for that anyway. So this is glass bead. All right, so you can see it works some. Glass bead is probably not abrasive enough for what I'm trying to do, so maybe I'll have to get something more abrasive. I'll be back once I get this done. All right, guys, we're back out here in the shop. It's a couple days later. I wanted to show you how good of a job the superclean did to get the grease off and the sandblaster did at taking off the extra gritty, nasty rust. So this is how the subframe looks after it dried. I mean, this thing was super, super layered with grease, especially down here where the engine mount goes. And pretty much this whole side of the engine cradle, you can see how clean it is now. I mean, this is down pretty much to bare metal. And then this side over here was where it was super, super, super scaly, rusty. You can see the sandblaster took it down to where it's pretty smooth. Now the underside, same story, nice and clean. Looks good. So I'm super happy with how that turned out. I gotta go tomorrow and I'm gonna get some paint for this. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna use. I do have some gallons of tractor paint, but I don't know if I wanna use that on this. Aerosol would be nice. So we gotta get paint for this, and I still have to take the knuckles apart, and I have to sandblast the knuckles and lower control arms, but I also need to get media, blasting media for my blasting cabinet, so I gotta do that tomorrow too. So anyway, that was the spray bottle of superclean on this. I also have this foaming can, and down in here we have a lot of grease and grime and dirt, which I don't know if that comes through on this video because it's kind of dark at the moment over here. But basically, this side is where the rod let go. Put the hole through the block and just sprayed all over. The rack is all covered in dirt and grease and grime. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that foaming can on all this engine bay stuff, and then we're gonna use the pressure washer to clean it up. So we're also gonna do that here. What else are we gonna do? Oh yeah, after we do sandblasting, we'll get this stuff painted. And while this stuff is drying, we'll go through the 3.8 liter, take this bad boy apart. We're gonna paint the supercharger, we're gonna paint the fuel rail, we're gonna paint the valve covers. That's probably it. And then we'll start putting it back together. So we're gonna take the lower intake off and everything. We're gonna make sure this engine is good. Really hope it is. And we'll put it back together after everything's painted with new gaskets, because we do have a gasket kit for it. Then, once we're done with that, everything's painted and ready to go, we're gonna fit the engine on the subframe, because we might have some figuring out to do with that. Might have to weld some plates. I don't know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, once we get that test fitted onto the subframe, might just jack the car way up, slide that under, car down on it, bolt it in. It's probably gonna be the easiest. That's how I do the Fiero stuff. And then suspension together, wiring, plumbing, then we can start it. Kind of excited to start it. What else? There's something I am forgetting. Oh yeah, this is a delete for the AC compressor. I want to run AC in this classy wagon. Wide body Fiero has an AC compressor, but it's not hooked up. So I think I'm gonna put the AC compressor from that car on this engine for this car. And I'll put the delete on that car. Because I mean, a classy wagon like this has got to have AC. So yeah, anyway, enough rambling. Tomorrow I'm gonna get paint. I am going to get media, and then we will blast some knuckles, and we will blast some control arms. And now that I'm sitting here talking to you, looking under the car, I can also see the sway bar that needs to be sandblasted. And then we can go on to reassembly. Ooh, I don't know if that engine mount bracket over there will work on this engine. Some form of modification, hopefully it will, but that's pretty nasty too. Maybe we'll super clean that. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right guys, so I lied. It's 10 minutes later. I decided, why not prime the subframe? So I found this Rust-Oleum automotive primer. It's twice the protection stops rust. Fast drying, wet sandable. Not that we're going to. Stuff is probably 1,000 years old. Slight gray automotive primer. Can says copyright 1991. So, got the first coat on the top side here. So once this dries, we're gonna flip her over and we'll primer the underside. And then I decided, since this is a budget build, we're gonna use this. It's black, it's oil-based, tough on rust. I'm sorry, tough rust preventative finish for industrial applications. This is industrial, right? So I'm gonna get some brushes tomorrow. Ooh, should have the door open. And we're gonna brush this on in the name of budget build. This is the only black I have. I mean, I could do it in safety yellow. I could do it in red, safety red. We got rusty metal over there. Some safety orange. John Deere green. Gloss white. What's this one back here? Oh, more safety yellow. Paint it yellow. We're gonna go with black. This is probably also how I'm gonna do the Pace Car Fiero when I do that. It'll be all right. So yeah, I'm gonna finish priming this and then I will be back tomorrow when I have a paintbrush and sandblasting media. All right, welcome back. It's maybe a week later. I don't know, today's 4th of July. It's like 4:30 in the afternoon. It's like 90 degrees out here, 90% humidity, so it's a great time to paint. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna paint. The primer has had plenty of time to dry. So it's been about a week. Looks pretty good. So the paint we're gonna use is this Rust-Oleum oil-based industrial paint. It's gloss black. Probably just said that. A little hot. So what we're gonna do here is we are going to mix this up. Brush it on with the brush. What does it say here? May recoat when fully dry, usually in 24 hours. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna paint the top side here today because that's how I have it set up. Then tomorrow we will flip it over after the paint's cured and we'll paint the bottom side. This is also the same paint I'm gonna use on the knuckles and the control arms, but I haven't got that far yet. But let's at least get the subframe done. Let's also hope this paint's good. I don't know how long it's been sitting around. This was from my father-in-law's collections of paint. Ah yes, the lovely smell of oil-based paint. It's so great. Well, it would appear that it's still good, unlike what this paintbrush is gonna be when we're done. It's a good thing it's a cheap paintbrush. I think we're gonna have to buy many more cheap paintbrushes for this project. Yes. All right. Let's see here, we'll get our brush wet and we'll slap it on. Oh yes, look at that. That is factory new. Now the good thing about the primer is it got down into all the spaces where I won't be able to get with a brush. Yes, let's make a big old mess. Wonder how thick I should be putting this stuff on. The good part of this, it is a subframe, so I just want it coated. Doesn't have to look perfect, because we all know it's going to get leaked on once again. But to at least prevent more rust and have it look nice, we'll paint it. Yes, so good. All right, there's the finished product. It's pretty shiny, nice and thick coat. Looks like brand new. So we'll go ahead and let this dry overnight. Tomorrow night we will flip this over, paint the underside, then this will be ready to start mocking up the engine mounting. So I'll see you tomorrow night. All right guys, this is the next day. This thing's had 24 hours to dry and it looks really darn good. Look at how shiny that dried. And it is dry. Turned out really good. So now, got to flip it over, and we'll paint the underside. Got a paintbrush. And a stir stick. Where did my screwdriver go? Oh yeah, old base paint. Smells so good, so good. All right, slop it on there. Make it extra sloppy for you. All right, so there we go. Both sides are covered. Looks good as new. Now we're gonna let this dry overnight again, and then it'll be ready for when the engine is gonna be test fitted to it here. So I think this is where I'm gonna end this video off. Didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but with the holiday and everything, this has actually been like 2 weeks of messing with this car. I still have the knuckles and the control arms to take apart, sandblast, and paint, so I'll probably get that knocked out. In the next video, we're going to take the 3800 and we're going to start taking that apart to clean it up, reseal it with new gaskets, paint it, all that good stuff. So then we can actually test fit it onto the subframe and make mounts and all that wonderful stuff. I swear I have to be the only person putting this kind of work into an 85 6000 wagon. Hey, sometimes you gotta be different. So, thanks for watching this video, guys. Hang out. If you want to see more, make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think of this project. Know if you think I'm crazy. And leave a like if you liked the video. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.